Hey, it's Ina the Mood Reader, and welcome to my mid-year book freakout tag for 2021. So I know it's late, but I haven't been filming books. It was a very stressful few days for me. I've been juggling tons of work and tons of things as well in my personal life, so I haven't been reading a lot. I've also been trying to maintain the Mood Reader bingo, so yeah. But anyway, even though this is even though this is late, I hope that you would still be interested in watching this mid-year freakout tag. And yeah, so before we jump into the questions, I would like to thank my friend Moon for tagging me to do this challenge. I did this one last year around this time as well, since I wanted to finish June 1st to, be more accurate in doing the mid-year. So I wanted the mid-year, the first 6 months to end first before I do this. So yeah, anyway, so let's go first with the statistics. I track my books, my reading progress in graphs. So I wanted to share a bit about my statistics so far in 2021. So it turns out that I was able to read 93 books. I don't know why I thought it was 94 books, but it was 93 books. I checked every single one. And then the total number of pages that I was able to read was 29,913. I don't know why I tracked that. I just wanted to do so. So yeah. And then my average rating for the year so far is 4.06, which I know is quite high. But I don't know if I'm a little too nice, if I just know which books to read, or I don't know. I don't know really, but yeah. Now in terms of basing the books I read on the year published, I actually read a lot of books published last year. 34 books published in 2020, and then 27 books published in 2016 to 2019, and then 21 books published this year. So, and the others are older. And now, in terms of genres read, this shouldn't come as a surprise. I read most contemporary romance books. I was able to read 41. And then I was able to juggle a lot of different types of genres. And then this is a little disappointing to know because I was hoping to read more physical books, but I was able to read 41 audiobooks, 37 ebooks, and 15 physical books. But now and onwards to the rest of the year, I really, really want to read more physical books because I want to validate my choice of buying them. I keep buying them, but I still read audio and ebooks, so hopefully I'll be able to read more physical books at the latter part of 2021. For age groups, it was a little equally divided. I was able to read 44 adult books, 41 young adult books, and 8 middle grade books. So a little divided between adult and young adult, which is nice. Yeah. So for star ratings, I gave 40 books 5 stars, 30 books 4 stars, and 17 books 3 stars. 3 books for both 2 stars and 1 star, and that's why my average is so high. But so far, I was able to read 14 Filipino written books and 45 books by authors new to me, which I think is still a good number. And Wikathon is coming up, so I'm sure I'll be reading more Filipino written books in the coming month. But yeah, those are the updates on my reading journey so far in 2021. Now let's go ahead and go straight to the questions. First question, best book of the year so far. Here I'm a little unsure because, as you have heard, I have read 40 books that I rated 40 stars. I have read 40 books with which I rated 5 stars. So these are the things that came to mind first. So I felt like they are the ones who were most deserving of this title, and I have 3 because, as you know, I can't choose one. So the first one is Amelia Unabridged. It's my favorite romance. It's a contemporary romance, and it's a book within a book or something. But yeah, it's very heartfelt. It's a book that made me teary-eyed, and books never do that to me now. It's about grief, moving on. There's an author-reader relationship between these two teens, and I just loved it. I loved it to bits. I was recommending it to a lot of people. Yeah, Amelia Unabridged by Ashley Schumacher. The second book is Want by Cindy Pon. I love this book so much that I made a YouTube video about it and a TikTok video about it. And I'm not one to make solo book reviews here on YouTube. I want to change that in the future, but if you've observed, I don't usually discuss a book per video. Usually at least 3 books in a video. So I really loved it, and I know it's kind of triggering to some how similar their situation is compared to the COVID-19 pandemic, but it actually made it better. It made it work better in a way for me, and I don't know, I just really loved how action-packed it was. It reminded me how much I love science fiction, especially young adult science fiction, because it's not too much on the head, but still works in a way. And I really, really love the dynamic here in Want. It's a very good duology. And yeah, I love it. It's turning out to be like a forever favorite. That's how good it is. And the third book is a surprise because I don't read nonfiction. But Educated by Tara Westover won me over. Whoa, okay, that rhymed. But yeah. I read this book as a part of a group discussion, which I usually also don't do. But this year, I became part of several book clubs, including Talk Bookish to Me Philippines, and it's one of the first discussions I've done, and discussing this book made me feel more attached to it. So yeah, I loved it a lot. It's heavy, hard-hitting book that frustrates you, but you know what? For me, books that make me feel things, considering that a huge part of me has turned cynical or numb or, you know, meh at life. If you make me feel things, you like win me over. And this book really gave me like a roller coaster of emotions. And I learned to appreciate nonfiction and seeing life through somebody else's eyes, you know, and how life was for them. Yeah, and this was really well written, and I admire the author for it, as well as I finally understand why this book is one of like the most best-selling book in the past few years. Like, I see it all over Goodreads, and now I understand why. Next question is the best sequel you read in 2021. I remember I wasn't able to answer a lot about this question in the last year's video, but this time I have a few answers. First is Ruse. Ruse is the sequel to Want, and I think there's no need to explain why I love this because I really love the duology. And Ruse is actually quite a different book compared to Want, but at the same time, I still have this crazy group of characters that I really loved. Same adventure, same impact, same people I fell in love with. The story was still so fast-paced. It's like I breezed through it, and I really wanted more, but at the same time, I liked how everything was wrapped up in the book. I loved it. So I'm recommending the Want duology to everyone. And Ruse, I think, is one of the best written sequels ever. So yeah. The next book is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. I read The Duke and I at the latter part of 2020, and I'm slowly going through the Bridgerton series. And yeah, I think the best sequel is the book where we have Anthony Bridgerton. I'm very, very excited actually for the next season of Bridgerton because I loved Anthony's story. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. So if you want to learn what this book is about, watch the next season of Bridgerton, I guess, or read a copy or check every romance reader's blog. But yeah, I just like it. And then the last book actually is both The Ikisar Falcon and The Dragon of Jinsayang, part of the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen series. I can say that this is one of the best sequels ever written because I'm not a fantasy girl. I'm not a high fantasy girl even more. I tend to stay away from this. I don't know if I'm not that creative or I hate remembering terms or I'm a lazy reader. I don't know. But it's really hard for me to get into high fantasy, but Kay was able to draw me in. I'm really attached to the story, and it was one big epic tale. There's so many things that happen. You can't summarize it because the characters really went through a lot, and you know, they stomp on your heart, they make you nervous, they make you laugh, they make you scared, and it's just so beautiful, the world that Kay was able to build. And I hope that more people, especially those who love high fantasy, discover this hidden gem. I know a lot of people need to discover it more because Kay deserves all the hype, and I'm so excited to see what she will be able to write in the future. So yeah. Question number 3, newest release I haven't read yet, but I want to. First, I have Arsenic and Adobo. I have it already here. Bought it from Book of the Month. It's a cozy mystery, but I really mainly want to read it because of the Filipino characters, Filipino cuisine, you know, adobo there, and there's a dog on the cover as well, Longganisa. So I'm very, very excited. I'm planning to read it next month. I don't know which prompt of Weekathon it will fit, but I want to read it next month. I also want to read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know what it's about actually. I haven't read a blurb, but I don't want to read the blurb. I just want to dive in, and I don't know. I just love her work. So I'm so excited for that. My copy is currently swimming at sea right now on the way to the Philippines from the US. But yeah, I'll read it as soon as it lands on my hands. And then finally, one release I want to read because I don't want to think of others anymore. I just want to see the recent purchases I have here. It's the final revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. It's another Book of the Month purchase, and it's a music-related historical fiction book similar to the vibes I get from Daisy Jones and the Six. That's why I want to read it. The number 4 question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't really keep track anymore of both that are upcoming in the next months. Unlike how I was able to monitor everything last year in 2020 on my blog, because I don't blog a lot anymore. I don't know. So I just have a few titles here that mainly I'm anticipating because of the hype, because I've seen the author a lot on the book community, and I just want to try them. And that's for the first 2. The first one is Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. First of all, look at that cover. And that mainly is the reason why I want to read it, as well as it being a historical tale. I think it's set in the 70s. And then How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. I want to read it because it's by an Asian author. It has dark academia vibes with Asian characters. No more explanation needed. I just want it on my hands right now. The next 2 books are books from authors I've read before and I have loved, so I want to see if I'd love their, recent works. And this is The Heart Principle by Helen Wang. I hope it's a Book of the Month pick. I really hope so. But if it's not, then I'll still buy a copy and read it. The other one is You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. I loved One of Us is Dying, and after that, I've just decided to read all of her works. I haven't read The Cousins yet, but also want to read that and You'll Be the Death of Me. Number 5 question, biggest disappointment. This one, there's only one book that came to mind, and it's The Project by Courtney Summers. I loved Courtney Summers' work, Sadie, so I had very high hopes, and I was so happy to be sent an arc of this one. Unfortunately, I only rated it 3 stars. It's not that huge of a disappointment in a way, but I was expecting 5,000 stars because with how I loved Sadie. So yeah, I was a little disappointed about it. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was a little bored at times, and it was confused a lot, and there was a lot of mix-ups there that, I don't know, it was a disappointment. Biggest surprise, actually have 3. The first one is The Surprising Power of a Good Dumpling by Wyatt Shim. I read it last May for one of the Asian themed readathons I joined. I had 3. And it was a random pick. I didn't know what it was supposed to be about. I just saw the audiobook on Scribd and I listened to it. And this book made me cry. And this book made me so happy I picked it out. It was like one of those books you read. It's like the book knew what I was needing at that time, and it gave that story to me, and I just loved it. I wasn't expecting something heartfelt and heavy. I thought it was just a light, fluffy contemporary romance, but it's not. And I'm very thankful that I was able to read it randomly just because it was an Asian book, but it delivered something else to me, and I'm happy that I was able to read the book. Yeah. So next I have here is Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellefleur. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation, but this is an FF book I read for Pride Month last June, and I was expecting something fluffy based on the cover. I didn't read the blurb again, and boy, was it so spicy, and I loved it. I wasn't expecting to get something spicy, but there we go. And I read a lot of LGBT themed adult books. So, and I read a lot of romance books. So, I'm not the type of person, to blush with spicy parts in books. But I'm really not used to reading lots of spicy parts for FF books, and this one took me by surprise. I was listening to the audiobook and I was blushing the whole time. Definitely a surprise, but a surprise I did like. And then lastly is Dwellers by Eliza Victoria. This was surprising because, again, it was a random pick. Gerald was asking for a book by a woman POC author that's mainly black. It was so hard to find a book that would fit it, and I was searching all over. I found it on Scribd, just a random pick, and it was amazing. It's a speculative fiction. I don't know if it's sci-fi or fantasy, but mystery. It's genre bending, but I loved it so much. I don't want to spoil, but just pick it up. Okay, favorite new author. These books I already shared with you. So, Cindy Pon, Ashley Schumacher, Eliza Victoria, Alexandria Bellefleur, and Gail de Villanueva for Sugar and Spite, and Courtney Milan for The Duke Who Didn't. Newest fictional crush, it's gonna be Jason Zhao. Sorry, I don't know. From Want. I don't know, I just like him a lot, and the guy I have in mind is very crushable. So there. New favorite character would probably be Anthony Bridgerton, Penelope Featherington, and Kidlat from Sugar and Spite. A book that made me cry, surprisingly, was Sugar and Spite by Gail de Villanueva. It's a middle grade book, but it made me cry. So there. And another book that also made me cry this year was The Surprising Power of a Good Dumpling by White Chim. A book that made me happy. As much as it made me cry, I was also so happy to read Sugar and Spite by Gail D. Villanueva. So, yeah. So, the most beautiful book that I bought this year, I'm caught between Sky Hunter and These Violent Delights. I know some of you have seen this before, but the reason why I think the Sky Hunter copy is most beautiful is because of this. Because of this. Here at the back, and of course it's naked cover. I just love it so much. I just love it so much, and I think it's very beautiful even when you leave the cover naked. And then These Violent Delights. I haven't read this yet, but I am sure most of you would agree that it has a very beautiful cover. Now, last question, books to read by the end of the year. To be honest, I don't have titles in mind right now, but one of those is These Violent Delights. It's been a year since I've been meaning to read it, and most of the books here on my physical shelf, mainly because again I want to defend my choices of buying them. I want to read them, but you know, sometimes my eyes hurt a lot when I read physical books, and sometimes I'm too busy at all to pick up books, and that's why I listen to audiobooks while I'm working. So hopefully I'll be reading my physical books, especially the book of the month books I've picked up, like Arsenic and Adobo, No Exit. I haven't read it yet, but I'll be reading it before July ends. Girl A, Too Good to Be True, The Hunting Wives, and these 4 books of Riley Sager. I also bought Survive the Night, so I hope I get to read that. People Like Her, Still Lives, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I've read this once, and there. I also have bought, you know, A Little Life, Night House, Shadow and Bone, Six of Crows duology. So there's a lot of books I have to read. Should I resign? But yeah, I have a day job. I have 2. So there's really, I only get to read maybe 1 to 2 hours a day right now because I'm juggling 2 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job. But hopefully I'll be able to read these books at the end of the year. So that's it. That's it for the mid-year book freakout tag 2021. If you want to do this tag, feel free to do so and post the link below so I'll be able to watch your video. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.